Shalom. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah. Yahweh Shemar Tham Hashem Yahushua. This is the ISUPK, starting on the 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. One of the commanding General Yohana. And here to teach the truth of the Bible for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that they are the real Israelites according to the scriptures. Today is Friday's Lashawan Kodash class, the ancient Paleo Hebrew class. All right, we're going to jump straight into it today. Last week, we covered Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. And we went into the definitions of these words. We're not going to dive all the way back into it like we did last week. You can check out our class in our archives on both our Facebook page and ISUPK San Antonio on YouTube, which is where you're probably watching on right now. We also should be streaming on Twitter now, right? I believe we're on Twitter. And so you can catch us on there too. We're going to read Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 3, and then we're going to get into today's lesson, where we're going to finish what we started off with a few weeks ago. All right? So, jumping straight into it. Now, as we know, the Genesis chapter 1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Of course, ancient Hebrew is read from right to left, and the sentence structure is a little bit different to where words, when you read from right to left, are in different places than where they are in English. Just keep in mind that that is the sentence structure of Hebrew. All right. We talk about how this Yoda talk, because it's a little bit backwards, right? The way Yoda talks. And so that's exactly what we're looking at. But the main thing that we want to keep an eye on is both your prepositions, possessive adjectives. These rules apply all throughout the Bible, all throughout the Old Testament. Ba, ha. You see ha right here. You see wa right here, which means and. Those are examples of how modifiers are used with root words to create sentence structure by tacking them onto the words. So, to give you an example, in beginning is ba ra'ashyat. Ba ra'ashyat. Ba meaning in. Technically, the correct way to say it would be baha ra'ashyat, because it would say in the. Baha ra'ashyat. But this is what the interlinear version of the Bible has it as, so I'm just going straight off of that example, okay? But in beginning, word ra'ashyat means beginning. Understand? Ra'ashyat means beginning. Bara'ashyat, bara'a, alahayim. Bara'ashyat, bara'a, alahayim. It's interesting that the first part of the word created, bara'ah, is very similar to when we see is bara'ah right here in the beginning. It's almost like saying creation was the beginning of something. Like when somebody's creating a child, that's the beginning of something. Looking at the sentence structure though, bara'ashyah, bara'ah, alahayim. Then it says the heavens right here. Hashemayim. Shemayim. And then it says, Wa'ath ha'aratazah. We all know aratazah means earth, ground, basically the ground that you walk on, right? Another example of aratazah is when you go to Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2, and it talks about how Judah mourneth and the gates there love languish. They are black to the ground. And where it says ground, it says aratazah, which is how you know it's actually talking about the actual ground and the dirt and the color of the people that are from the tribe of Judah. And so this is important because what you're going to notice is that the heavens and the earth are, in this case, separate, because you have the heavens, which is everything that exists, everything beyond the earth, everything beyond what we're able to see and touch. And then also the earth itself, which is what the scripture refers to in Genesis. When you go further down, the firmament is one of those heavens. Earth is going to be a location of a heaven on earth. You understand? And so heavens is not one word. It's plural. When it says heavens and the earth, notice that there are multiple heavens. That's why it uses shamayim. Yum, as you go to the rule right here, is a word that is added to a plural of something. Shemayim, all right, is heavens. So in the beginning, Yahweh, or the Most High, created the heavens and the earth. Bara'asha, Bara'ah, Alahayim, Hashemayim, Wa'af, Ha'aratazah. That's Hebrew. That's the oldest language that we know of on this earth. We're reading it right now for Black, Hispanics, Native Americans because we got to unify under one language. Got to unify under one speech. This is our culture that we have to take back from what was stolen from us, and where other people are trying to pretend to be us. We are now coming back to our heritage, and instead of speaking this Hebrew, which is what you see in Israel today, we'll be using this Hebrew. Now we're going to also understand how to read this Hebrew as well, because Israel, when we were in Assyrian captivity, created that form of Hebrew. All right. And the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. Waha Aratazah, there goes that Aratazah again, and the Waha Aratazah, Hayatha, Tahawa, Wabahawa, Wakashar, Al, Hanya, Tahawam. And so these are all, of course, Hebrew definitions. These are all Hebrew vocabulary words. Face, Hanya, Aratazah is earth, void, Bahawa, darkness, Khashar. These are all words that you can write down in your notes. And that is why I always outline root words in green. When we go through our classes, I always outline root words in green. So as we're writing down these sentences, you can take note and write down, and you'll notice that the word that I have boxed, or the part of the phrase that I have boxed in, I also underline what it's saying. And that helps you get an idea of what the root words are in these hieroglyphs, in these pictorial characters. All right. So those are the main ones that I want you to keep an eye on, things like that. Tahawam is actually the whole entire phrase means deep. Tahawam means deep. Spirit. Rawah. Rawah is the word for spirit. And the spirit, and spirit, Wa Rawah, Alahayim, there goes that yum again, letting you know that God is giving orders to powers that we know today as angels. And that right there, Alahayim, means plural powers. The word Allah does not mean God per se. It means powers. That's why when you read the very first testament, the very first law of Moses was, thou shalt not have any other gods before me. But when you read it in Hebrew, it says, thou shalt not have any other powers before me. You understand? And so ancient Hebrew is a language that the world has confused with other ideologies. And so when you think of gods now, you think of gods from the other nations. Because why? Because they find their power through false idols. When you go into the Bible, the actual powers are the ones that God has control over, which would mean that he is the most high power. That's why the scripture calls him the most high, the ancient of days. And what are some of the other phrases? Yahweh, obviously. You understand? So that's what we gotta come back to, that understanding of our language, its vocabulary, the definitions of these words. All right. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Okay. First of all, earth was formless and without any form, and it was darkness all over the face of the deep. What deep is this talking about? Is this talking about the deep on the earth, or is this talking about the deep in the heavens? Go ahead. The heavens. We know today as the universe. So this would be like, think about the deep as a long distance. Like, you know how when we think of deep in the ocean, we think of a long traveling distance into the ocean. So this is talking about something else. This is talking about the face of the deep hovering over the face of the waters. And so this is talking about elements that are out beyond the earth. And the Most High's the Spirit of the Most High was hovering over the face of the waters. You understand? So this is talking about everything that was put out there. You know, what's crazy is that modern society tries to call this event the Big Bang. That's what they call it, the creation of the universe. But the Bible simplifies it and explains that that was the beginning of the creation of us being able to perceive the elements, us being able to perceive the existence of everything in the deep and beyond, everything on the earth, under the earth, in the what do we call it, the atmosphere, and then of course everything beyond the atmosphere. And that's why Genesis is important, because understanding it in its ancient Hebrew form is going to give us a better understanding of how accurate the scripture actually lines up with science. Science is just knowledge of everything that the Most High made, knowledge of how things operate in this existence here. And so, like I said, we're not diving completely into it, but this is what we talked about last class. We went completely deep into the understanding of it. We showed you 2nd Ezra chapter 16, where the waters is clearly talking about more than just the waters that we know of on earth, right? You can check that class out, recap that, make sure to take plenty of notes in that class as well. All right. If we could revisit this at a later time, if y'all need us to come back to it for any reason. All right. And said God, let there be light, and there was light. Waya Amar, we know Amar means said. Amar, that's one that we see all the time. Alahayim, Yahaya, a war. Wayahaya, a war. All right, now we're going to read the whole thing, and then we'll go ahead and erase it so that we can get into today's recap. Okay? All right. Bara'ashya.
Bara'ashya.
Bara'at.
Bara'at.
Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Hashemayim.
Hashemayim.
Wa'ath.
Wa'ath.
Ha'aratza.
Ha'aratza.
Waha'aratza.
Wa'aratza.
Hayatha.
Hayatha.
Tahawa.
Tahawa.
Wabahawa.
Wabahawa.
Wa-Khashar.
Wa-Khashar.
Al. Hanya.
Hanya.
Sahawam.
Sahawam.
Wayawarak. What's like it? Warawach.
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 Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Marakapat.
Marakapat.
Al.
Al.
Hanya.
Hanya.
Hamayam.
Hamayam.
Waya Amar. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Yahaya.
Yahya.
Awar.
Awar.
Wayahaya.
Yahya.
Awar.
Awar.
That's it. That's the first 3 verses of the Bible. You understand? And you can best believe that this very same thing that we're saying right now is what was said in Native American powwows in the beginning of civilizations in North, Central, and South America. And that these were the first things that were said during the time of Moses when these precepts were first written. And they were written in this exact form of Hebrew, and they were said in this exact dialect of Hebrew. This is as close as we possibly can to the original word-for-word verbatim language that the ancient ancestors of ours were speaking. This is the structure of the language. This is a highly intelligent culture that we come from. And it is so intelligent that it is made to be simplistic. Don't let this intimidate, because the more you get used to the Hebrew, the more you realize that it's just like how we use words now, where a lot of words can have more than one meaning, and the way that you say them can make it mean the other definitions or the other meanings that we use for them. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and leave that on the board for about 2 minutes so that you can copy it. I'm going to make sure to share and like the class, and we're going to get started on finishing up the alphabet. Who we got? I don't know where. All right, let's run it back. We'll give it about 2 minutes, all right? All right. Just sharing the class right now. Give me a second. Let me see.
Oh, don't live
Huh?
there? Don't live there?
It's
It's still there.
it's more of like a. It just needs to be sharper, honestly. I think maybe if anything, maybe if I move it a little closer, it'll pick up on the. Yeah, a little better.
Let's see.
Is that better?
It might be hard.
We're streaming in 720p. Can you check the resolution of the camera?
Come. Yeah, it's in 720p.
All right, we're gonna give it one more minute, y'all, so I can give it 1 second. Keep in mind again, we use the ancient Hebrew not just for the Hebrew class, but for our Sabbath services as well. Brothers that come into the school have been learning the Hebrew, damn near to the point where we're able to basically duplicate ourselves and be able to cover a lot of ground in the Old Testament, reading it in Hebrew. Now, again, it being the learning process for an entire nation of people, and it being a second, maybe even some folks' third language, it's not easy to learn a completely new language once you've reached a certain age, because it's like, how do I say it? Learning another language when it's like trying to fill a wine bottle, an old wine bottle with new wine. It's harder to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not made for that. So it is difficult to learn a new language on the fly the way we do it. I think I saw. I'll tell you that later.
Yeah, remember told you basketball because the rest of that one in there, it still tastes like trash.
And what the scripture say about mixing wine? You know what I'm saying? That's why you can't put new wine in an old bottle, because it still has remnants of the old wine in it.
Trash.
You know what I mean? Almost done here, y'all. Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna try to write larger because, like I said, these characters are small on the screen. So, all right. What we just read again was Genesis chapter 1, verses 1, 2, and 3 in the Lashon Kodash. We broke down the definitions of some of the key words, such as heaven, God, spirit, waters, light. All these things are part of the creation that the Most High has for us to experience here while we're alive. And understanding that is a part of the foundation of understanding who you are and what your purpose is on this earth. Because people always talk about, well, I don't know what my purpose is on earth. Well, first, you got to understand the earth. You got to understand where you are. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that, it's kind of hard to even really get started on finding purpose or getting started on understanding where, you know what I'm saying, which direction you should take your life. So let me see here. Let's see. All right, we're good there. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to erase this. Which color is easier to read? Green or red? Black? Let me try black. Black's definitely the best one.
Black and red. I'll go red. Oh, rest is up.
Let me see. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, black. Black will look a lot better. So black and red.
Do y'all remember what these characters mean visually as a picture? You gotta understand. Hey, multi-credit. Multi-credit. But shout out to Slayer of Edom in the chat. The ancient Hebrew is actually, I mean, I'm gonna say this, I'm actually being kind of serious. They're memes. We think of memes today because they can say a lot within just a quick glance, right?
You're talking about like that one meaning the cow of the head. Just
Yeah. Yes. This first one right here means cattle. Specifically the head of the cattle, right? What's this one right here? Do you remember this one?
it's like a house.
It's a house. We got we got ba, we got ga. We got cattle, we got house, we have camel. Camel.
How is it camels? Sorry, sir.
How is it visually a camel? Because with camels, basically looks like this, right? Might have some humps or something like that. And so, just like how this is a head of a cow, this is the head of a cattle, of a camel. Yeah, of a camel. On this side of the world, it would be a horse. Why is a camel not the same as cattle? How come they're different? How come these are two different characters? Anybody know? Write your comments in the chat. We'll see you guys get active on here. I want you to take a guess. Go ahead.
I believe they have different hooves.
Hooves? That's not why, but try again.
The cow and like camels are like in two different groups. The camels. Like,
Let me help you out. Cattle are properties that are mainly used for food, mainly, not all. Sometimes they're also used for work and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But that technically falls more to the camel category because you have food, housing, transportation. Camels were used to transport people across deserts. They're built for that. That's why they got humps on their backs. You know what's in those humps? Water. And it's water that they could store. It's almost like a fuel tank for the camel. It's like a fuel tank. Like imagine if you had a big truck with extended fuel tanks. That's what a camel is. You know what I'm saying? Very, very efficient animal. Go ahead.
Also, those humps, aside from water, is fat and stored. And Ishmael loves to eat that shit.
But we will be reading.
I mean, it's like that. Ishmael likes, they eat that.
They eat camels?
They eat camel hump. Because it's
Camel hump.
It's fat around.
That's crazy.
They eat like, you know how we Israelites, we eat chicharrones?
See what happens when you start changing up the language? Because Arabic derives from Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens when they change the language is they change the picture.
Yeah.
And so the picture means something different, which means that now they think that transportation is food. You're not going to eat a horse.
No.
You're not going to eat your car. You know what I'm saying? I've messed up your teeth. But cattle have a purpose. House has a purpose. Camels have a purpose. These three things are the essentials of life: food, house, vehicle. Right? And our first three characters in our alphabet cover the three basic necessities. Three basic, pretty much, huh?
That's the three basics.
The three basic necessities. And again, we are recapping what we did last week. We're gonna complete the alphabet. Go ahead, copy.
No, listen, like camel were meant to like be in the like go into that desert plane.
Yeah.
You know how like you like that's like you're getting ready for a trip, or like the plane is getting ready to go fly.
Yeah.
Or something for a long time. It's like a camel we're getting ready to go in the desert for a long time without no water, no food, or anything. So that's what they for.
Another thing too is didn't Christ show up on town on a donkey?
Yeah.
Donkey is a horse. You know what I'm saying? You don't see horse in the alphabet, but this is the main reason. It's the equivalent of it. This, as we know, means door. Now, why is this important? You have to have a house. But how are you gonna get in that house? You gotta have a door. But what does the door do? I'll give you a hint. What does the door do? What does a door do? Right? It protects. It's like a filter. It opens when someone's allowed to go in. It closes when you're not allowed to pass through. And that's exactly what a shield is. A door is a shield. You know what I'm saying? What does someone do when they have a shield on their arm, right? Like one of them armband shields, they close it to protect the arrows from hitting them, right? Or when I'm watching some of the older movies, what do they do when the arrows are flying up and they're coming down? They hold that. It's basically a door, but it's a shield. That's what exactly a door is. A door is a shield to the house. It's like a removable shield. The actual house itself is a shield, but the door is the movable part of it, right? Windows, that kind of stuff. It's exactly what that is. Of course, King David's name is two doors joined together, so that's why the shield of David is what it's called, and it has nothing to do with the star of Remphan or whatever the heck people think it is. You have to go back to the beginning to understand what it's actually saying. Understand? Go ahead.
We used to ride camels all the time when we was in our own land, right?
Camels, and then of course on this side of the globe it would have been horses, right? So yeah, transportation has always been a part of our culture, and we don't eat our transportation. We don't. That's not what they're for. You know what I'm saying? One second. All right. Next character is Ha. Hosea Christ. Welcome to the class. Marcia. Ha would be what? Reveal. Reveal. We talked about the Most High's name. Yah, Ha, Wah. How he has revealed in his name twice. Revealed. Now, just knowing that we have this character in the Most High's name, because it's something that is used more than once, it shows the importance of it. To reveal something. What does the prophecy do? It reveals something. What did the Most High do in Genesis 1 when he created everything? He revealed everything that it existed.
Yeah.
He created it, and what it did was he created an environment that we would be able to see what he created. Because first, when he created everything was there. You just couldn't see that it was there because it was not formed in a way that you could see it. It wasn't turned into a light. But what happened is, do you know what a star is? Do you know what a sun is? I'll tell you what this is not a star. But what is a star? Go ahead.
Burning thing of gas or a person who.
Yes. But what is it made out of?
Yes.
Yeah, what is a star made out of? Go ahead. Elements in space. They all gravitate together. Before you know it, it's causing what would be considered like a nuclear reaction that goes on for millennia, and in some cases thousands or maybe even millions or billions of years. That we haven't lived long enough to even fathom that. But the Most High revealed that to us. He revealed prophecies to us. He revealed who the leaders are amongst our people to us. So reveal is just an important part of our culture because we are a culture that reveals things to the world. We invent things. We create things. We create structure. Understand? Perfect example of that would be the next character, Wa. What does Wa mean? Wa means a hook / peg. A hook or a peg. What can you do with that? You know what I'm saying? If you had a teepee, right? Here's the door to your teepee. How do you keep it from blowing away in the wind? You got to have pegs in the ground, right?
Upside down.
Nowadays, we have fasteners.
Yeah.
Called screws. What's the other ones? Nuts and bolts and things like that. In the ancient days, we used everything around us: metal, rock, stone, things that had a strong, rigid structure to use as hooks and pegs. And so the word Wa, hold on, da, we got Pa, we have Wa, means to join. So it is no coincidence that the word Wa means and. You see how exact the language is? Because the word and joins two things together. You were complimenting a woman, she's smart and beautiful. You're joining the fact, you're joining the traits that she has together. You know what I'm saying? If you were hanging out with your brother and your father, you use Wa to do it. And even physically or even visually, it means the same exact thing. This is the Hebrew alphabet. The Hebrew alphabet is practical knowledge. The ISUPK teaches practical knowledge because our language is practical, our culture is practical. The Most High created a practical universe for us to live in. You understand? Straight like that. The next character that we have is Zah. Anybody remember what that one is?
The hint.
No.
Hmm?
Zah.
Hmm?
No. I gave you one more try. Kambiar, what do you think, Zah?
Your mouth.
Zah means weapon.
I'm thinking, yeah,
Zah means weapon. It just looks sharp. That's exactly what a scythe is. You ever seen a scythe before? Scythe. A lot of scythes look like with the blade coming up.
Yeah, that's the one you use on this one.
Yeah, but if you were spinning it, it would look like that, or sometimes it would have two blades on it, right? Those are ancient warfare weapons. A sword. Zah actually represents a sword as well. You know what I mean? Somebody had thought of, I believe it was a sister last class, when she was talking about what's that game that people play, Fruit Ninja? How they swiping across the screen? It's like that, right? It's almost like the motion. It represents sharp motion. The link to be in the class should be posted. Oh, gosh. So we have some technical difficulty with the mouse right now. It is not functioning. And so luckily though, the screen is a touch screen, but we are limited in how we're able to maneuver around with the computer. So lock it for that. I want to extend an invitation for anybody who wants to be in the class. And so y'all try to look around and see how to get that going while I continue. It's locked. Ancient Hebrew, again, is a practical language where even the characters themselves mean something. It's what it visually means. Once you understand these things, it's easier to understand what your name means. It's almost like it tells a story of who you are when you write your name in the ancient Hebrew. Moving forward, we got Abba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, and Zah. Then we have Ka, Ta, and Ya. All right. Next three characters. Okay, how'd you do that?
That's for you to invite.
Oh, okay. Most High in Christ. What we do have right now is we figured out how to add the link to get into the class so that you can participate. What I would like for you to do, if you do click the link, is have a sheet of paper and then just write down the alphabet like how we have it here. You understand? A represents cattle. Ba represents the house. Ga represents the camel. Da represents the door. Ha represents revealing. Wa represents a hook or a peg, or what we know today as a fasten. Za represents a weapon. Strange day for that, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what?
Ka, what does ka mean?
Still calling you.
Ka, what does ka mean?
It's like a castle, right?
Not it.
Close.
Like forts.
A fort. What is a fort surrounded with?
Oh, no.
Oh,
It's a wall. A gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, wall. That's what that we
You know what's interesting is how it looks like a ladder. That's the first thing you would think when you look at it, right? You would think, ha. It's lucky. Try to be in the habit of when you write Hebrew, even when you translate it to English, try to get in the habit of making everything capitalized. Because Hebrew doesn't necessarily use lowercase letters. Ka means wall. Now you would use a ladder to get over a wall, right? But the actual form of it itself is wall, meaning what? That you have a structure and then you have layers to the structure that bring this perimeter higher. Because that's exactly what you would do is you would have an outline of what you're building, and then what you would do is you would start laying brick or mortar or whatever kind of material you're going to do, and it goes in layers just like that, right? So if I were to draw a wall, so on and so forth, right? And so this kind of represents the same thing. Fortress, wall. And why is that different from door or house? How is this different? Why is it its own character? What would you assume? It's not necessarily wrong to take a guess. Go ahead.
Because a wall like that is not meant to be penetrated.
Exactly. That's just how a door in a house would be a housing protected from the elements, from the immediate dangers of outside. A wall has a specialized purpose because sometimes you'll see a wall around a bunch of houses, right? They call those gated communities.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely fireworks.
What's today?
It keeps on going though. Like,
There's fireworks going on outside. It's lucky. Again, we got walls because they protect houses. A lot of times you'll see around, like when you go into a neighborhood, you'll see a wall or a fence around each lot in a neighborhood. You go outside in the backyard, there's a wall protecting, and you'll notice that it looks just like this.
I was about to say that. So, you see it on military bases.
You see it in military bases. You see it in castles in the old days. Like I said, it's to set a perimeter. It's to set a boundary. It's all part of what we talked about yesterday in class when we were talking about dressing and furnishing the wilderness. When we were talking about how Adam was to set up the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a part of the furnishing, is to have a wall. It's what creates a society. Matter of fact, there's invisible walls they use in every state, right?
Oh yeah. Borders.
Yeah, the borders to each state technically has a boundary as well. So can mean also metaphorically, not just physically. Next character is Ta. Ta. I'm just gonna give this one for you. Ta means clay. Ta means clay. Now that's important. Clay is used for all sorts of things. Clay is used for plates. You think of something to be circular, you would take clay and you would press it, and you can harden it and heat it so that it turns to a structure for something like a tool, right? Or in this case, clay is also used for what? A seal. Clay is used when somebody puts a stamp on a letter that is to be sent out. Or they would use, like, King David would use his initials, which was the Dawada, the shield of David. He would put it on a clay stamp. And so it would also be in the shape of a circle, usually because it's just a molded material pressed down. And usually when it's pressed down, it makes the shape of a circle because it's just pushed out from the middle. And so it's a very common form that you see clay. Matter of fact, that's exactly the form before it's used on a spinning table to turn it into a vase. Yeah, you take the flat clay, you turn it into a vase. It's kind of like that in the same principle. It was obviously advanced over time, but in its most simple form, it can be used for things like plates and utensils and tools and all sorts of things. But it represents clay. All right. That's important also because when you see it in somebody's name, when you see it in a word, it also has a very similar effect to this. Because you use clay to build walls, right? You use clay for doors. You use clay in pottery and things like that to join things together. Now, next one is Yah. And we talked about this. This one y'all knew. I think this is as far as we've got last class. Yeah. And what does this mean?
Yep.
Yeah. What does Yah mean? Go ahead.
That's the arm. The hand?
It's the hand, yeah. Specifically the hand. Right. If we were very primitive, think 5,000 years ago, and you had a stone, a rock, and you were able to carve on a wall in a cave, and you needed to tell somebody about what was going on, you would probably use some of these elements here, right? Like you want to tell somebody that there's cattle, you could be like this, right? And it'll tell them more or less that there's cattle here, and then you would draw a man, and you would have a stick figure, right? And then a lot of times they'll have arms, and then those arms will have hands. Right.
And that is primitive.
It is primitive. But Yah actually means hand because you see the. It's like you see what I'm saying? If I'm standing over here, it's like it's the hand, right? Not them feminist hands where they go like that. That's not what I was trying to say, right? So I'm gonna try it. But Yah means hand. Now we can go back to the Most High's name. Check this out. Now, just off of what we know, what does God's name tell us as a name? What does it tell us? The hand that reveals, joining, revealing. We know that hooks and pegs are meaning to join, right? So what is God's name actually saying when you write it on a wall? What is it telling you? It's telling you that God is the hand that revealed to us everything that was put together. You see what I'm saying? It's literally telling us that he's the creator in his name. You understand? That's why the scripture says his spirit moved across the face of the deep. Because he's the hand that creates and reveals everything. That's why I said it was important that his name had revealed in it twice. You understand? Okay, Most High Christ, sir. I'll definitely do that. How long did he say it? Oh, he just said it. Okay, Most High Christ. I'm definitely gonna hit you up, sir. Definitely gonna hit you up. The Most High's name is incredible. That's a perfect name, right? If we look at oh, you know what? I can't break this down yet because we got to cover some of these more other characters, right? Next one we have Kataya. Which one comes next? I know y'all know. Ka
Okay.
Ka Kapiyar, you might know this one. What is this one?
I'm on this one.
Mm-hmm. It actually goes right along with this one. It's the palm. The palm. And that's crazy because it actually shows your fingers.
No.
It's only missing the thumb, but you get what I'm saying? Like I said, when we were drawing pictures, this would represent the actual, the palm of the hand. While this is kind of more of a general stance of the hand, it kind of also means the arm as well, right? Because you have the arm, the elbow, right, and then the hand. But the palm is specifically, you know what I mean? The more labor intensive thing, because this is what separates us from pretty much every other creature on Earth. You know what I'm saying? Other intelligent, semi-intelligent creatures like dolphins, octopus, they don't have palms. They don't have other mammals. They don't really have the ability with opposable thumbs to grab things and do things like that. They have simple things, right? Cats, they still have palms. They have claws. And that's actually one of their biggest strengths because theirs operates at a higher level than most other creatures, even more so than dogs. There are some animals that have palms that allow them to hang upside down on trees or climb up walls in ways that we could never possibly do, even if they're not able to really wrap their hand around the wall. It's even made in a way where you could still grip it just because of the material the hand is made out of. So this is important too, because ultimately your hands are what? They're tools used for building, used for destroying, used for holding things, for molding things, right? So very important character. Again, it's part of our culture as well. Ka La. Go with La. La. What does La mean? Anybody want to take a guess on what La represents?
Lock.
La. I'm trying to keep this consistent.
Lock.
La means staff. La means staff. Because exactly what a staff would be, if somebody was holding it, it would be a vertical object. Obviously, even when you look at it today, the change form is a lowercase L and it looks just like this, right? But the uppercase L has actually stayed pretty much the same, even when it was used in the English language.
It's like a leg. That's what I thought at first.
Yeah, a staff. Something that holds something up. Somebody uses a frame or like Moses had the staff, right? Something that plants on the ground, you know what I'm saying? But it can also represent other things too, like legs and stuff like that. Or it could represent leadership. You know what I mean? Leadership or support is what it can also represent. So the staff is another thing you see in a lot of names and characters and things like that. Definitely a part of our culture because again, you put it all together and you see that you're starting to build not just the initial building blocks of what it would take to build a community, but the leadership of the community and everything that put together in that complete effort. So the language is telling you something visually, just like how a meme tells you something visually. You know what I mean? I want you to record on your phone 30-second clips throughout the class. When I'm breaking stuff down, we use that too. On like Instagram and things like that. All right. Next character is Ma. 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 What does Ma mean? Anybody want to guess what that means? Ma. The character Ma means water. The character Ma means water. And in fact, when you were to draw water in the ocean, you would draw it like
Yeah.
In a primitive way, it would look like this. But what gives it a body is that now you actually know that this is an encompassed area of water, right? And so I'm just giving you a visual that shows you that that's what that always meant. Ma is an important, essential part of creation. And we were talking about this because the word water is used in Genesis chapter 1. The Most High says he created a firmament to separate the waters above from the waters below. And what do we understand about water? Water is one of the most important things on earth that support life on earth, right? But what about beyond? You understand? The elements beyond. Now, again, this being more immediate to everything we do here on earth, this water is more so talking about water as we know on earth because it supports life. How do you know? Because the next character is Na. And what does Na look like? Also the same thing.
Yeah.
Except what is Na, when you look at it, what is it actually telling?
Small body of water?
No. It's a seed. These two things right here are some of the main parts of the building blocks of life. Agriculture, right? And what is it that you do in the ground? You plant seeds in the ground, right? Plant those seeds in the ground so that they could grow.
Yeah.
And so visually, this is a seed being planted in the ground.
I see.
You see what I'm saying? Water is a little different because it's the waves of the ocean in a body of water. But the seed itself is a seed being planted in the ground. What's crazy is that this is needed for this to grow.
Yeah.
Seeds need water. How does the water get to the seed? Sometimes the water's not even nowhere close to the seed. But it gets there because the sun evaporates the water, it goes into the air, and it goes into clouds. I believe it's Ecclesiastes that talks about that. The cycle of how the clouds were formed, and then they brought over the land, and then they get to the point where they start to drop onto the land, and then it waters the grass and all the seeds and things that are requiring it get what it needs for it to grow. So these things kind of work together. You understand? So visually, this is also important. Why? Because now you have a community, you got food, you got housing, you got transportation, you got shields, you got other things that are implemented to create a society like walls and the work of the humans and people that are able to do things. And then of course you have other essentials as well. Seeds, water, things that are important. And so you best believe that it's a part of our alphabet because, again, these are very important building blocks of what it takes to support life. All right, now, next one is Sa. Sa. Now, I'll give you a hint about Sa. Sa is very similar to La. They actually kind of look similar. What does Sa mean? What does Sa represent? Sa, and again, everybody should be writing these down. It's a perfect opportunity for you to not only write down the Hebrew alphabet, but to understand the Hebrew alphabet and what it's saying when you look at it. Sa means to support. And it makes so much sense because, again, what is a wall but just a bunch of support beams that have cross sections, one form over another. Think of a basic fence. That's the basic structure of a fence, right? What is a staff, right? Like Moses holding the staff, right? Give him his little arm, right? You know what I'm saying? He's holding his staff, right? You know what I'm saying?
Grab the phone.
You get the idea. If somebody's old and their knees is messed up, they don't need a staff to hold themselves up, and it's called what? Support. The first thing that happens if you break your leg playing basketball, they'll give you crutches. You'll have two support staff. You'll be, moving around like Timmy from South Park. You know what I'm talking about? Jimmy. Timmy. This is support right there. That's what Sa means.
Support.
You understand? Now, like I said, not trying to get too crazy with it. Tazah. Tazah. This is an interesting one. Tazah. Think about what we've already known. What does it kind of look like so far? Looks like some of these other characters that we've been using, but it's almost like a hybrid character because it's put together with a couple of ones that we already have. It looks like support, but it also looks like weapon.
So you skipped two though.
Which one? Oh, did I? Let me see. Kata, yeah, Kalama, Nasa. Oh, the what? We'll come back to that. I is actually the I. It's literally an I. All right, and then we ain't trying to be ultra deep or anything with the whole overstand, understand. And I don't like when people actually use the word I when they say I. It's like why are you doing that? But I obviously because your eye is circular, right? And so this is exactly what it means. I. What's funny is that we look at this and we think, oh,
Yeah.
but it actually means I, and you should think of it like that because that's what an eye looks like. You know what I'm saying? If you were drawing somebody, you would use some of these things like support. It's like their legs, right? The la, the staff would be like their torso, their arms. Where's it at? Yeah, their arms and hands and palms, right? Their eyes. And then, of course, right after eye, if we're talking about anatomy, pa. Now this means what? Pa. Take a guess at what pa means. Think Pac-Man.
Your mouth.
Yes. Mouth. Mouth man. Right? Because if you were drawing somebody's face, right, you have that, you have this, right? You have the eye, you have the mouth. That's crazy.
I think you're saying something.
Uh-huh.
I think you're saying makes sense because then I'm thinking of from right to left.
I mean,
So like right now that you drew the mouth,
mhm.
you drew it on the left hand side.
Yeah,
If I were to draw it, I would have did the same thing,
but
I
the
would
other
put
way
the right
around.
on the right hand side.
Like I say, is one thing about what this kingdom does is they just turn everything upside down and backwards, right?
Yeah, I just want to mention
Yeah, like even Ba looks like a B, but it's flipped
that.
almost.
Like that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is what we already know. Ha actually already looks kind of like an H.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Or even ha still kind of looks like an H. They just,
Mhm.
kind of turn into like a backwards F because there's no fa in Hebrew. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like I said, now we talk about anatomy. You know what I'm saying? We talked about palm, arm, hand, mouth, eye. Those are some of the main things that we use to understand our body. Now we can go to this one right here, Tazah, right? Because Tazah came after that. Let me see. Tazah. Tazah means side. And this is important too, because even your name, right?
Mhm.
This is important because if your name means ambassador, that's exactly what an ambassador is. Ambassador is a leader that sits on the side of a leader. It's like a backup leader. You know what I mean? Every major civilization has a leader and then backup leaders that would be considered side leaders or ambassadors, right?
Yeah.
We in the Hebrew, our culture, we think of things more in warfare terms, and so in Hebrew, this actually is more tuned to our culture because this is a leader who stands at the side of the generals and captains with weaponry, and so we call them armor bearers. Armor bearers, because it literally means leadership and weapon. And so what an armor bearer does is they hold the weapons for the person that is been doing battle with them. a lot of times you would have a warrior that would have their sword and they'll have their shield, but they might not have their bow on them, but they would have an ambassador or a side that would be next to them or right behind them, who would either be using that bow or holding it in case that leader needed it. And so an armor bearer is somebody that has the weaponry and extra armor and materials to support. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The person that is going to war. They do that nowadays. They even use that in the modern military because when a sniper is sniping in a very delicate situation, they usually have what's called a spot, who provides intel and sit reps on everything around them. And binoculars, they constantly are a second set of eyes, and they may also carry ammunition. They may also carry other things.
They also calculate the distance.
Oh yeah, okay, sir. Okay, we'll definitely do that, sir.
Oh yeah, he's talking about like.
Yeah, the Hebrew characters also represent the numbers too. The first 10 of them are the main ones that we practice from the jump. 8, 9, and 10. These characters are also used in our number system, and they are done in groups of 10. That has always been like that. Again, an armor bearer provides weaponry for the person that they're supporting. So if you have the word support mixed with weapon, that is exactly what this is. Another thing, sometimes wars are not won with just weapons. They're also done with voices and speech. And so ambassadors are able to speak more than one language. That in itself is a weapon. Language is a weapon. You understand?
Okay.
Language has been a weapon that is used against Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to where now we're forced to speak languages that we no longer, we no longer speak the languages that we originated from. And so now we're speaking Spanish and Portuguese and French, Creole, English, obviously, and all of these things have been used against us. But somebody with the right mindset who is supporting leadership can actually use that as a weapon to then, communicate with a targeted audience, to give them understanding and give them everything that they need to get out of their situations. So very important character right there. Matter of fact, let me finish the rest of the alphabet, and then I'll show you more examples of how these names are actually used for people's names. Sorry, these characters are used for people's names. Qua. Let me draw it right here. Qua. We know qua looks kind of like an umbrella. Qua is actually a circle. It means circle. That's what it looks like. Because they couldn't use this because this was the more obvious circle. But this is still important. Why is qua important? Anybody want to take a guess at why it looks like this? I'm trying to draw a little cleaner.
I'll get it.
Qua.
Why does it mean a circle?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know.
Another form of it may look like this, which is what Q is already looking like.
Like a bubble?
Could be. There's a direction that it's pointing, like a compass direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this circle can technically be pointed in other directions. It is normally looking. It looks just like this most of the time. All right. No major reason, but this is what the circle looks like in Hebrew. All right. The next one is Ra. Ra. And what does Ra mean?
Wait, my bad. I missed the circle part.
like I said, Q already looks like this, right? We have it written right here.
Mhm.
So it means a circle, but it necessarily can mean something that has an entrance, something that has a direction to it. You know what I mean? What's an example of how we use that? I'll give you a hint. It's used in architecture.
Architecture?
Yeah.
Door?
Think of 360 degrees, right?
Yeah.
We understood that back then.
Mhm.
But the degree can actually have a direction that it's pointing. That direction could have been, it could have been the 0 degree angle, right? This might have been more of like a 35-degree angle. We understood some of them would have a 90-degree angle. There's different, like I said, it's almost like a compass. And originally compasses were used to do what do you call it? Geometry, I think is the word.
Geography.
Geography. Yeah. Architecture.
So that's what that is basically a
It's
compass.
kind of like like a tool used to understand direction. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, it is geometry.
If you were to draw a map, you would have to have some kind of compass, some kind of way to map it out, distance and things like that.
It's like measuring angles to travel.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Ra means head. And what does it actually look like? It looks like a head. Already looks like a head. It's like one of the battle droids from Star Wars. Right? Yeah, the head, the arm. Right.
It does.
You might be holding a Zion, right? I'm not trying to, I mean, honestly, a lot of these things, like if you saw us on the cave, you'd be like, this was what?
Yeah. I can see that.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Or if you were to change the tool that he had and you would draw like this, what is he now? It's like a support warrior,
support, yeah.
like an ambassador. Yeah. But yeah, even very basic and simple pictorials is what you see in the ancient Hebrew. Ra means head. And so you see that in people's names because why? Because they're in a position of leadership.
Mhm.
You know, like if I take the name Kabar, what is this saying?
Wall,
House,
and
head.
wall, house, head.
Mhm.
Wall. So a protection
He's a community leader. That's what they're saying.
in the house
Yeah.
and the leader of it.
Leader of a home, leader of a community that's protected with a perimeter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, if his name means brotherhood, then that's the perfect example of it, even just as a visual form, because it's about not just himself, but an entire community. That's why I mentioned that usually you see walls around a group of communities, even when you think of a medieval castle
Mhm.
or a medieval city,
Mhm.
the whole entire city would be surrounded by wall.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I thought.
But the city itself is a group of houses and, you know what I mean, sub-units and other structures, you know what I'm saying? So it goes back all the way to even the most basic understanding of what we think of as a community when we're building a community.
Mhm.
General Q had mentioned too that again, the first 10, the more important ones when it comes to the number system, because Abba, Gada, Hawa, Za, Kata, Ya is 1 through 10. All right. So I went ahead and brought the numbers there just so you can understand that those are actually the numbers used in the ancient Hebrew when you're actually writing things down. Like if you were to say, if you were to say, I need 3 men, you would say like this, right?
Yeah.
You would actually use the character God for that. Or it may be kind of like written to the side as you show like other pictures and pictorials and things that you're drawing. Now, what happened is over time, obviously, these hieroglyphs were developed into words and phrases and became a language. So that language then started to make this even more advanced because you started to see structures and things like that. Like, I'll give you an example. So when we talked about the Most High's name, that was a perfect example, right? How his name actually means the hand that revealed everything that was put together. That's exactly what his name was saying. It's always like that. Next one was Sha. And what does Sha mean? Pretty simple. It's an easy one to guess.
Teeth.
Teeth. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Because if you were to draw a head and you had teeth on it, and you drew an eye on it, you'd be like, there might be something dangerous over here. You might not want to go beyond, like if you were to write it at the entrance of a cave, right? And then you might have, you might draw an arm just like the hand, and then you got the, the claw, the palm. This thing look dangerous.
Yeah, I see that.
You see what I'm saying? So this is actually, like I said, I know it's silly, but I'm just using the characters to draw. It actually is telling you physically and visually what it would say. Because you would understand that. You saw that at the beginning, you'd be like, and then you saw like, I don't know, some kind of arrow pointing into the cave. You'd be like, there's something in there with teeth and claws, and you might not want to walk in there unless you have a Zion.
It's like visual sign language.
Yeah. Like I said, the memes.
Yeah.
Or hieroglyphs, they call them, pictorial characters.
Yeah.
So teeth, you understand?
Yeah.
And even today we understand that because obviously teeth are sharp, most teeth. You know what I mean?
When I saw that, I thought about my canines.
That's perfect.
They're sharp.
Mm-hmm. The most dangerous animals are the ones with the sharp teeth. Lions, right? Dogs, big cats. But yeah, humans too. Last character is Fa. Fa. What is Fa? Draw this larger real quick. What is Fa?
It looks like a sword.
Not quite. I mean, yeah, it does look like a sword, but what does the Fa mean? It means sign or end. You know what's crazy? Disregard this for a second. But normally a stop sign looks like that. Stop sign. Usually a stop sign is not a circle. It's more like an octagon, right? But it has this sign here. It says this is the end of something.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't go beyond this point unless you stop first, right?
Yeah.
I'm just showing you a modern example of what this easy. Even back then, this represented the end of something. A lot of times when you see ancient Hebrew written on tablets and stuff and artifacts, sometimes it looks more like an X, but technically this longer part is supposed to go a little bit further out.
I think you meant like do not enter.
Yeah, kind of like I said, and sign or end.
Cancel.
Yeah.
Cancel. I mean, putting an end to something, right? Go ahead, Caviar.
Numbers.
Hmm?
The numbers.
What, for the rest of these?
Come on.
Well, obviously there are other numbers, right? 11, 12. See, but another thing too is that once you start getting past 10, you'll just start using more of the same ones.
Oh, it only goes to 10?
Yeah, and my question is, I don't know if there's one for 0. So how would you write 1,000?
It'll be it will be the Asherah is 10.
10, yeah.
Yeah, you use Asherah a couple times.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like it would be like 2 of them.
Yeah, because we don't use like 1,000. It'd be like, you know what I mean, one score.
I see what you're saying. We'll brush up on that next time. I'm gonna get the full understanding of that.
4 score.
Yeah, that is true. They did say that. They say it just like that. 3 score. But like score is 20 though, right? Score usually means 20.
Yeah, score usually is 20. But there's a 10 too. I don't know what 10 is. Like
It's just like saying decade.
You know what I mean? Decade, century, millennium.
I'll give you an example of one. This is one I just saw right here. Awa Iba. It's think about this word right here, abomination. Thought Iba. And enjoin. I, house, and reveal. So what is this actually saying? Abomination. But your eyes actually seeing something that shouldn't even happen.
So, and join I, house and reveal.
Thought
So
Iba
the
means
end of
abomination.
You see it. Good job.
Reveal and house is what? Think about that. What do people do behind closed doors? They do things that are abominable.
okay.
What's done in the dark comes to the light. So eyes are actually seeing. And what happens when something's abominable, it gets put to death.
So we read from right to left.
It gets joined. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying. You have to put it all together.
Look your eye out.
End and join. We know that this is something that's bad. The end of something usually means something that's dangerous, right?
Into your eye.
Yeah, the end and joining into the end of something, and then the eye seeing something that was hidden. You know what I'm saying? That's why people do things. That's why people don't like doing abominable things out in the open until now. Now you got gay parades in the land of Israel, and hopefully that gets put to an end, right?
Christ said, "Look your eye out." Look your eye out.
Oh yeah, put your hand up.
No, I'm just joking around.
No, you see-
I mean, you gotta get real creative, but you start to see what I'm saying, though, right? You know, I did this one too, obviously. Yeah.
Let me figure it out. It's gonna be hand reveal. Oh yeah,
What's in it?
hand reveal.
His name means joy.
Hand reveal. Seed.
And reveal seed. And reveal. And again, remember when something's used more than once, it's a very important thing.
Yeah.
It's like foundation. You have
Seed reveals the hand.
the Command General Yohana's joy is what? Doing the work that reveals the foundation.
Mhm.
Prophesy is revealing.
How you get joy out of that?
Hmm?
How you get joy out of that?
Is what I'm just giving you the definition.
Ah.
But I'm telling you the
Man, I like this shit.
what the characters are saying though. You understand?
Yeah.
Is that they're like you know how you say this is my hobby?
Yeah,
Why do you say it's your hobby?
because it's
If you're doing a labor that you enjoy, it's not work, right?
yeah, like drawing, right?
So when you think of a hand, usually you use your hand to do works. The hand of Command General Yohana was used to reveal and to begin in the foundation of, again, seed. What does that mean? The growth of a kingdom, growth of a school, planting the seeds of building something. That's why somebody that loves what they do will stay in the basement of a building to make sure that seed is planted on the earth.
Yeah.
That the foundation of the truth is planted on the earth. And that's kind of what this is saying. Revealing and seed, that's his work is prophecy.
Right.
It is his joy. It is his labor. It is his passion. Command General Yohana's joy is revealing the truth and laying the foundation.
He gave me joy.
That's what it's saying. And it's and it's fundamental visual characters.
Hey, do my son's name.
Which one?
Kanayawan.
Right, which like Ka?
Yeah, K-A. Yeah, Kanayawan.
Awan.
No, after the I, it's Wan.
Oh, Kanaiwan.
Baby B.
Seed.
Kanaiwan.
I.
What is the name?
Humble warrior.
Palm seed. I. Seed. No, that's a seed.
Interesting.
Hook
See,
and seed.
This is the beginning of a lineage of a powerful family because he's going to be somebody that's inherited, right? So the palm in this case is what? Ability. As he gets older, he's going to have the ability to continue a foundation. He's going to have the foresight to understand the foundation of a family. So it's kind of like here's the bar, and then here's his son Kanawan, and then his other son. I don't know the name of his other son, but they're gonna branch out, and then that's gonna branch out, and that's gonna branch out, and then he's planting the seed of. He's able to see. He's able to foresee the importance of what his purpose is from the youth. So he's gonna have the ability of with his hands to plant those seeds and to see the importance of it. And again, this is why Nas on there twice to join that together with more foundations. So it's kind of like saying strong. It's almost like saying, well, obviously humble warrior, because why is it that he's humble? Because he's gonna be learning from his youth. He's gonna be learning from somebody that's established in the truth. And so it's gonna be something that's gonna allow him to keep his mind right and not get prideful, right? And so it takes humility to be a leader, anyways. Right? Like King David was humble even in the time when Saul was ruling. So King David was technically a humble warrior. Look at how now we talk about the seed of David even to this day.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So this is the beginning of a lineage or a legacy.
All right, do his brother.
And this.
Commandant.
Commandant. All right, Commandant. This is wall, water, door, and seed. So what can you come up with? Commandant means what?
Hot judgment. Because he judged his brother, you feel me? Kanayawan used to pick on Commandant, and Commandant.
This is the one that moves a lot.
No, the one that moved a lot is Kanayawan.
Humble warrior.
Yeah.
Judgment.
He used to pick on Commandant, and Commandant was like smack, and then he was like, "Oh, let me not hit him no more." He gave him a hot judgment.
Commandant most likely going to be the larger.
Yeah, he's
He's going to be the larger one because
that's baby A.
because this right here means wall. He's going to be a protector, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be a good brother. Like he's going to be the one that's most brotherly, kind of like how your name uses Kabar, so it has wall and house and head. That's how your name is. Now, Ka, meaning wall, along with the character Ma, is interesting because it's almost like think of a wall and water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is what you need to have what? Like
to have people basically
Yeah.
protection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most cities were founded near water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's accurate.
Commandant. And then what comes from that? Life comes from that. But it's what's interesting is Ka and Da serve a similar purpose because this means protection, door means protection. He's gonna be like a Shamar cannon. You know what I'm saying? Because he's gonna be bigger, it's gonna be natural for him to fit into that department. But also, you think of water and things like that, you probably would be very charitable, right? To the people that deserve. Sometimes judgment is also good. Sometimes judgment means I gotta protect my people, and you're gonna be the one that's gonna get the, you know what I mean? Then you're gonna get the hot judgment. but water is not as hot. So it's like he's gonna be balanced in that sense because he'll be able to both defend and provide.
Yeah, that's coming. That's the spirit I get from them while he's in the womb.
So he'll be able to protect, provide, and like I said, protect that foundation as well. So that's again where seed comes into play.
He's gonna like to fight and teach class.
Yeah.
Yes. You feel me? That's what I get from him. And I get that Kanai Wan is gonna be like a hot head, but you know, he's gonna be like a real warrior type deal.
All right, we're gonna end it on this. Tazayar's name. Tazayar.
That's easy, ambassador.
Yeah. But what is it saying?
The weapon beside.
Assisting leadership,
Yeah.
right? And that's exactly what this is too. That's why it's here twice. First it does it like this, then it almost does it in a different way. Another form of this would be support and weapon, right? But that's why this is here. Tazah can mean ambassador, armor bearer, can mean it literally means side, which means support, or right hand man, right? And so that's exactly what that's saying. The right hand man whose work is with the leadership. That's why it says head. That's what ambassador means.
That's exactly what ambassador is. That's exactly what an
That's
ambassador
why it says it like that.
That's exactly what an ambassador is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what his name visually says.
An ambassador to the king always goes before to other kingdoms before the king as an ambassador to the king.
I also said this.
Right hand man.
I also said this. Do you remember that one class where I showed that clip from Metal Gear Solid, where the Native American Kotaku was speaking, and he said that language is a weapon that was used to control the world. So, like I said, language is a weapon, and entire countries can get toppled, not with just militaries, but with ambassadors that go to other countries to set up agreements and discussions and panels and conferences and things like that. So an ambassador is like a secret weapon that is put on the forefront in a way that is clever and designed to be kind of like the jack of all trades. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's like that. But of course, thinking about it in a more of an Israelite term, it is more based off of warfare than anything else. That's why this and this make this. Support and weapon make side. See what I'm saying? And that's what it's happening. All right, so we're gonna end it on that. We'll reach out. I'm gonna leave this on the board right here for next week. And for anybody that has any questions about their name, maybe we'll break down the name that you have. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna make sure that Israel gets the understanding of their culture. All right. I'm gonna follow up with General Q to get a little bit more information on that. I'm trying to bring that out next week as well. But with that, this is the ISUPK. Started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, in 1969. We're under Commanding General Yohanan, here to teach the truth of the Bible. So-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the Israelites. With that, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah. Yahweh Shem Yahshua